Hey everyone, alright, so in this video I was wanting to talk about Samurai X, Trust and Betrayal, the prequel to Rurouni Kenshin. Now, initially, when I first watched this movie, of course it's in two parts, Trust and Betrayal. When I first watched this movie, I made the mistake of watching it in the English dub. Now that really spoilt it for me. The English voice acting spoilt it. And then I had a period of time where, after I'd watched them, didn't think anything further about them. However, today I decided to re-watch them, and this time I decided to watch it with English subtitles but in the original Japanese audio. Now, that was the best decision I think I could have made, because watching it in its original Japanese audio, I absolutely loved this movie. I really loved it. It's surprising how much impact the voice acting can have. It can make or break the particular anime or video game, but it really made all the difference here. The Japanese voice acting in the Rurouni Kenshin anime or Samurai X is really top of the line. It's so well done. The voice actress who voices Himura Kenshin is absolutely brilliant. You talk about other voice actors. The voice actor who did, or voice actress who voiced Kaoru in the anime show, absolutely fantastic. The voice actor for Yahiko, the voice actor for Sanosuke, the voice actor for Seijuro Hiko, absolutely brilliant. It really is an art form. I've been talking about this, and I've been saying how voice acting, it seems that it's always been respected and highly regarded and taken seriously over in Japan, but over in England and maybe the US as well, like you look at the Dynasty Warriors games, voice acting, I think it's really come a long way over here. It's only in recent years that it's been realised how, and taken seriously, realised how important it actually is. But yeah, basically the Japanese voice acting is brilliant, and when you watch the Kenshin anime, when you watch Trust and Betrayal, you need to watch it with its original Japanese audio. So of course this is the prequel to Rurouni Kenshin. Here we get to see Hitakiri Batasai. We get to see all the dark stuff that Kenshin went through before he took to wandering. Now, one thing I was initially struck by is how brutal this anime is. There is so much blood in this movie, buckets of blood in this anime. It is unbelievable, and some of the kills are really graphic. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it's both parts of Trust and Betrayal are rated certificate 15, and when you watch it, it is not difficult to see why. But yeah, again, I don't really want to give anything away, because it's a very good story. But when I was watching it, it connects up really well. But one thing in particular I thought is, watching Trust and Betrayal would be a good move to make before watching the live action trilogy, because as I was watching Trust and Betrayal, there were certain things which I thought matched up really well, or connected really well with what you see in the live action trilogy. You know, of course, we're introduced to Kenshin. We find out how he gets that cross-shaped scar, the infamous cross-shaped scar. Although we do find that out in the first Kenshin movie, Kenshin live action. But on the Internet Movie Database discussion boards, someone posted that they didn't like the way in which it was done in the film. They thought it was addressed in too much of a matter-of-fact way, and I can see where they were coming from. If you watch Trust and Betrayal beforehand, it kind of solves that problem, you know. So if you look at the Rurouni Kenshin live action trilogy, then if you look at Trust and Betrayal and think, well, Trust and Betrayal could be to the Rurouni Kenshin trilogy what the Hobbit trilogy has been to Lord of the Rings, you know, because that is what it is. And if you treat it like that, you know, if you have that little continuity going, you know, watch Trust, then watch Betrayal, then watch Rurouni Kenshin, then Kyoto Inferno, then the legend ends, I think you'll have a really nice continuity going. But yeah, some of the stuff that it really fits well, because obviously Kenshin is Scar. You're introduced, of course, to Hajime Saito, and of course that what you see helps to explain why they have such a hostile relationship, certainly in the first live action movie, you know, where where Hajime challenges Kenshin to a fight, and obviously it's pretty much a one-sided beatdown because Kenshin's just refusing to fight back, whereas Saito is just wailing away on this guy. Yeah, it helps to explain the tension that exists between those two. And of course we are introduced very briefly to Shishio Makato. You know, it's done very briefly, and his name isn't even mentioned, it's just explained, we've hired a new assassin, or trained a new assassin, Kenshin, to take your place. But that, you know, if you've seen the live action trilogy already, or you've read all the books, or you've seen the entire anime, you know, you see this new assassin, you think, oh god, that's going to come back to haunt us later on. So yeah, another thing that sets up really well for the live action trilogy. I was just thinking maybe it might be something of a shortcut, you know, if you weren't familiar with the books, if you weren't familiar with the full anime TV show, just rather than going into the live action trilogy cold, if you watch Trust and Betrayal first, you know. And of course we meet Seijuro Hiko, who is of course Kenshin's master, the guy who taught Kenshin everything he knows. Because the way of course you are introduced to that character in the live action trilogy, it's not immediately clear who this guy is. You know, we don't find out until film 3, but at least when you see him, when he pops up at the end of Kyoto Inferno, you know, you'll be able to guess, oh, I know who that is, because obviously we've met him beforehand. So yeah, watching Trust and Betrayal first, and then watching the live action trilogy afterwards, there'll be a nice few callbacks that you can make. So I just think it might make for a better, you know, experience of the story. You know, fill in a few more blank edges of the map. But like I say, I am glad I sat down and watched Trust and Betrayal again, because it is so brilliant with the original Japanese audio. It's fantastic. I loved it. Yeah, the whole story of it, it's really heartbreaking, because obviously Kenshin takes on the role of Hidekiri Batasai with the best of intentions, but of course things are a little more complicated than what he had in mind, as his master tried to warn him, but of course he was young. He thought he knew better. He wouldn't listen. But again, the way that they part in Trust and Betrayal, when Kenshin runs off and leaves Seijuro Hiko, it helps to explain in The Legend Ends, when they meet again, why Kenshin's master is so hostile towards him and is so cold towards him. It really helps, you know, it really sets up the pieces, it sets the board for what's about to unfold in the live action movies. Yeah, but I highly recommend Trust and Betrayal. If you haven't seen it, you are missing out, because it really helps you to understand, you know, Kenshin's vow never to kill again. Because at the end of the TV, at the end of this, at the end of Trust and Betrayal, Kenshin is at his lowest point. You know, he's just completely he's a broken man, and he's completely haunted. So when you know, this movie will tell you the baggage that Kenshin is carrying with him, and it just really helps you to understand the character more, and it's done so fantastically well. You know, it is a thing, it's absolutely brilliant. Of course, the way it works is, of course, like I say, 2 parts, Trust and Betrayal, and each part is broken down into 2 30-minute or so subparts. So basically, Trust and Betrayal, it comprises of 4 half-an-hour parts. For me, the final part, the final half hour, was really what made it, I thought. It's absolutely fantastic, because it's just, Kenshin just completely breaks down in that final half. You know, he turns to the dark side, and it takes the huge tragedy that happens in that last half hour to bring him back. And it's really what happens in that last 30-minute segment that sets him up for his life as a wanderer, vowing never to kill again. So yeah, if you are a Kenshin fan and you haven't seen Trust and Betrayal, you really should, because it's such an important part of the story. And if you watch it with its original Japanese audio, you will love it. If you loved the books, if you loved the live action trilogy, if you've watched the TV show, the anime, and you've loved that, you'll love this as well. But prepare, more so if you're a fan of the anime, because yeah, things can get dark in the anime from time to time. But if you have just really stuck with the anime, what you are going to find waiting for you in Trust and Betrayal is much darker than what you've seen. In terms of the style, we do get into some only God forgives territory here in terms of some of the visions that Kenshin has, because when we first meet him, obviously it's well into the revolution, it's well into the Bakamatsu. You know, he's well seasoned as an assassin by this point, but he's suffering from demons even when we first meet him. He's haunted by visions, you know, and of course this just accelerates to breaking, or builds up to breaking point by the time we get to the end of this movie, and that's of course when he makes his vow. You know, once we've achieved this new world, this new era of peace, never again will I kill. But yeah, I loved it. watching it this second time, I really fell in love with it. Because the first time I watched it with, like I say, my mistake, I should have just watched the original Japanese audio. But watching it with the English dub, it was just meh, you know. Well, it was enjoyable, but not the best. But watching it as it's supposed to be watched this second time round really made it. Honestly, I think I'm going to have to watch them all back to back. Trust and Betrayal, Rurouni, Kenshin, Kyoto Inferno, and Legend Ends. I love all of them, so I couldn't say for certain which is my favourite. I'd certainly think they all maintain the standard of excellence across the board, but I'll have to watch them all again back to back to determine which is my favourite. But I love it. I hope if you've seen the movie that you love it too. I hope if we're debating whether or not to watch Trust and Betrayal, I hope this has helped you out to making a decision, and I hope if you do decide to watch it that you do enjoy it. It has a really nice romantic aspect to it in parts. There's a strong romantic undertone. There's also the element of tragedy, but there's an element of hope for redemption as well, of course. But yeah, if you're going into this, prepare for something dark, because that's exactly what you're going to get. So that, again, I really don't want to give anything away, but I hope you enjoy it. So this pretty much brings this review to a close, and I'd like to thank you for watching, thank you for sticking with me, and of course if you've seen the movie I hope that you agree with some of the points that I've made, and thank you again for sticking with me, thanks for watching, and I shall see you all next time. See you everyone, thank you.